I guess the emails take a little bit to go out, and I just sent out the Twitter post. So, good timing for everybody that showed up. Hello, Jeremy. Hello, Avak. I'm kind of tired today. I didn't get much sleep after last night's recording. I had to wake up early and get some things done. So it's a perfect Sunday lazy day stream. Yeah, I'm curious how fast the 4G upload is. I do only need 4 hours, but I'm still tired. You wouldn't want to see me with less than 4. Is the key thing to take away from that. By the way, it looks like, does the music need to go down a little bit? It looks like it's competing on the equalizer with my voice. It seems like one of those games where once you know what you're doing, you can get really... You can speed the process up a lot of I'm gonna continue to derp around and take my sweet time. 50 megabytes per second down and up, that's pretty significant. I might just buy one next pay period. It'd be about... The hotspot plus the data card would probably be about $100, so that's not too bad. Maybe when I go on vacation in the second week of March, I'll pick one up, and we can test a stream with it. If I could even get like 5 megabytes per second upload, that would be a significant boost. And one data card would probably last me an entire month. I don't know how many gigabytes of data I stream in a 6-hour session, but I can assure you it's probably not even... It's probably not even a gig, if I had to guess. Considering the fact it takes me close to 6 or 7 hours to upload a gigabyte video to YouTube. And which hotspot is it? Which company? That's one of the significant things, because I don't have a whole lot of wireless companies out here. There's 3. Okay, I'm ready to start this because I want to get into Stardew Valley as soon as possible. For those of you who don't know, I am reading one of the Doom books from the early 90s. And we're on chapter 15 right now. So spoiler alert, you're jumping into basically the middle of the book. Let's see. Time had no meaning for Fly Taggart. The memory of being Fly Taggart. He had no body but retained a consciousness somehow, somewhere. A sense of motion. But that might only be another memory. Remembering a hand created a hand. Remembering a foot resulted in the sensation of a foot. A painful sensation from where his ankle had been bruised. Memory of a backache condensed into a patch of flesh and blood that was a back. Memory of breath turned emptiness into a pair of lungs. Recollections of hot days on a summer beach left their imprint on a forehead slick with sweat. Then he had a whole body, floating in a warm current of air slowly cooling. An upside-down vertigo turning his stomach, which meant he had a stomach. The fall wasn't long, and he skinned his knees on a hard metal surface before falling forward on his face. The air was cold. He blinked eyes and an aching head. He couldn't see anything but white and red spots chasing each other across a field of darkness. The man panicked at the thought that he'd been blinded, but gradually vision returned. There wasn't much worth seeing. The light was dim. He wanted to breathe fresh air again, as he had before stepping on the platform. He'd been breathing the stale air of spaceships and the Mars station and the Phobos installations for so long he'd almost forgotten what fresh air was like. Even if it had been fake, he wanted it again. But when he filled his lungs, it was that disgusting sour lemon smell he had first noticed when he killed his first zombie. He was a man again, but he didn't want to be back in hell. Yet he had traveled somewhere, hadn't he? He felt he'd come a very long way just to reach. I didn't know where I was. Instinctively, I reached with my left hand for the machine pistol, the weapon I could most quickly bring into play. My hand slapped bare flesh. There was nothing on my chest but air. I looked down and saw that I was naked. Jesus and Mother Mary. And after all that work gathering shotgun, sig cow, and rocket launcher, having lost my clothes during the strange journey didn't bother me, except for the drop in temperature. But I didn't want to turn into dead meat because I didn't have weapons. A naked man is an unarmed man. I wasn't going to waste another second before reconnoitering. I don't like that word. I've never liked that word. Reconnoitering? That was in the very first audiobook I read, and I had to go listen to a computer say it for like 5 minutes. And I'm still pretty sure I completely fuck it up every time. Let's see. The audio level for this one. I really need to adjust like all of these all the way down, but if I move them down anymore, you guys won't be able to hear them in the stream. You have Verizon? I can actually get Verizon in my area. And yes, Savak, I've heard of Black Desert Online. I am not going to play it just yet. Reconnoiter. God, that word. Why do they have to spell it so horribly? Hello, Oscar. Audiobooks aren't for everyone. I certainly don't expect everyone who enjoys my other stuff to enjoy the audiobooks. Oh, but editing this isn't bad. It's only a couple segments that I have to edit in these. It's the mush ones that take forever. I'll have to try to remember that link later. Or just send it to me after the stream, because I'm not going to go there right now. Yeah, there's no telling. I think it's worth a try. I think the fact we don't have good internet is just that everything is so spread out. We're a very small town. I'm 3 miles outside of town, for instance. I've got cable internet. There's probably only 100 people over in this direction, which is why they won't expand or upgrade anything. They'd never make their money back from us. Let's see. Which I can understand from a business standpoint, I guess. Why waste money you don't have to? We'll fade this in. And I've got to see how I sound. I no longer have a stuffed up nose, so I don't sound nearly as doom-guyish as I did in the previous videos. Time had no meaning for Fly Taggart. The memory of being Fly Taggart. He had no body but retained a consciousness. Bandit king of my town. Somewhere. A sense of motion. Yeah, that needs to probably go down by half, almost. But that might only be another memory. Remembering a hand created a hand. Remembering a foot resulted in the sensation of a foot. Surprisingly, we have a lot of towers around here. Where his ankle had been bruised. Memory of a backache. Obviously not as many as are scattered around a city. Blood that was a but I'd say within a mile of me is a tower. Emptiness into a pair of lungs. Recollections of hot days on a summer beach left there. No, unfortunately, there's no wizard
slick
towers.
with sweat. Then he...
There's also no necromancer towers. Much to my dismay, trust me.
I wasn't going to waste another second before reconnoitering.
Is it reconnoitering, Avok? If they add the ing on that? Reconnoitering, that word sounds so retarded. I don't even like saying it because I can't do it right. Reconnoiter. Reconnoitering. It sounds like the Noid. The fucking Domino's commercials. I wouldn't need 18 gigabytes of data. Most likely. I would hope not, because I don't want to pay $100 a month. Reconnoitering. You know what? I'm not even going to worry about it.
I wasn't going to waste another second before reconnoitering.
Reconnoitering? Eh. I'll add a mental note to go back to this later on if I want to. It just sounds wrong. Have you ever said a word, and even though if you think it's right, it sounds right, but deep in your heart you know that it's not right?
Another second before recon...
Okay. So... like, there's been times where the word for, F-O-R, I can't, my brain can't handle it. Avok, I've still never heard you actually speak your language. I don't even know what it is. I think I wanted you to curse at me one time in it, but you wouldn't. It left me a broken man. If there were monsters anywhere near here, then I had to get my hands on a firearm right away. The sour lemon smell was a dead giveaway zombies lurked somewhere in the shadows. I'd come through a gateway with nothing but my body, but at least I was breathing. I wanted to keep it that way. The gravity was Earth normal. As my eyes adjusted to dim light, I saw I was in an oblong, rectangular building. Having had the experience of being outside before the transfer, I didn't look forward to roaming corridors again. I almost hated the idea more than the prospect of fighting monsters. Suddenly it didn't feel merely cool any longer. It had gotten downright cold. Being stark naked presented other problems. With all the disgusting ways to die I had recently discovered, I'd be damned if I wanted to catch my death of cold. Adrenaline pumping madly, my drug of choice, I ran in the most promising direction. A red light pulsed dimly in the shadows directly ahead, and the flat, slapping sound of bare feet against the metal floor seemed almost as loud as the boots had earlier. If this setup were anything like the one I'd left, I actually wanted to find a zombie. Alive or dead, they were armed with what I needed, and a lot easier to deal with than the spinies or ghosts. I found the source of the red light. An entire wall emitted crimson illumination. At the bottom was an inverted cross cutout, just big enough to serve as a doorway. It was directly in line with a square platform on the ground. The platform was red too. The symbolism was blasphemy. Anyone walking through the doorway would have the privilege of being crucified. The religious imagery was starting to piss me off. Whoever or whatever was behind this had learned things about human psychology that I preferred it not know. I slipped through, feeling dirty and corrupted. I felt an unholy chill as I walked through the inverted cross in the red wall, the color of communion wine. the color of blood from fallen comrades. How right I was to think of buddies lost in battle. Directly on the other side of the opening was the dead body of a UAC technician, locked in mortal embrace with a soldier I recognized from Fox Company. I wasn't likely to forget Ordover. The youngest kid in the outfit, we'd bagged on him something fierce. He was patriotic to the core and easy to rag. As I looked at the remains of this friendly private, the boyish face that hadn't been altered even in death, I regretted the times I'd helped get him drunk. Finding out that Johnny enjoyed singing old ballads, badly off-key, when he was honed and capped was too much temptation. I thought that was as funny as everyone else did. Get your fucking fertilizer out of here. You are way too premature. So I'm gonna have to put some audio warning in this because the previous videos of the audiobook are probably like half of this audio volume. It's they're gonna be very quiet and then jump up to this ridiculous loud level, and I will feel bad for headphone users. Slacks, did you have any luck or dreams with that Linus picture?
I wasn't going to waste another second before reconnoitering. If there were monsters anywhere...
Let's just... right here, so I don't forget later to go back and fix that. Add a little chop. Anytime I see super tiny pieces like that while editing, right before encoding the whole damn thing, I always go back and check them. I feel like I've missed something important about Slacks' sex life over in chat.
I thought that was as funny as everyone else did.
And that's important information to have and know. Well, give me your MiFi then. Weren't you gonna run me an Ethernet cable or something, Jeremy? If you've got unlimited and quick upload. No, that's too much work. I've got hotspots like where I work. Pretty good hotspots that I can get a good discount on. Considering the fact I run the department.
I thought that was as funny as everyone else did.
Okay. So we're learning more about one of Fox Company members. We still haven't found Arlene. Haven't seen her body anywhere. We haven't seen Weems. Where's he been? What about the Ron and Rons? Ron and Ron. I'll let you know. I probably won't change my mind though. Let's see. Sorry, kid, I muttered to his corpse, relieved that at least he'd received the gift of a clean death. He hadn't been reworked. Now it was Johnny's turn to provide Fly Taggart with a piece of serious artillery. He was lying on top of a sig cow with a 50-round magazine. Thanks to him, I might still be naked. Might still be naked. Pretty significant to include that. And I know I do get good Verizon reception out here. My friend has it and she gets 4G with 4 bars.
Sorry, kid.
Let's just fucking redo that right there completely. Okay. Sorry, kid, I muttered to his corpse. Okay. 141. Additional. Right there. I did not like the way I said sorry, kid. This kid deserves a little bit more emotion in his sorry. He's earned it.
That was as funny as everyone else did. Sorry, kid.
And cut this out. Whenever I repeat like segments, I always try to look at the audio pattern. I wonder if it's possible for me to get like the audio pattern to ever be almost exactly matched up for voice recognition reasons.
I muttered to his corpse, relieved that at least he'd received the gift of a clean death.
Okay. Weems is going to be like the very last boss that we fight. Or is Arlene going to be the last one that we fight, Larian? I had forgot that Fly mentioned her to the demon.
Magazine. Thanks to him, I might still be naked.
Do you think that this story would be cliche enough to have Arlene be the boss?
With a 50-round magazine.
With a 50-round magazine. I hope not, honestly.
Thanks to him, I might still be a naked savage, but I was back in the game. I was a Marine once more. As I examined my surroundings, I had the feeling I'd been dropped into a giant warehouse. There were huge boxes, or crates, all over the place with UAC stenciled on them. I began to explore, and noticed a red, glowing square that emitted a curious heat. I avoided it for the moment, welcome though the heat would be. Having gotten in the habit of following Arlene's arrows, I started hunting and looking for more weapons, as well as food, water, and an unbroken radio. I was so intent on all this that I barely noticed it when I turned a corner and was back in zombie country. I shouldered the rifle and fired while they wasted time roaring. The shot was good. The nearest head exploded like a ripe melon. That startled me. It was a single bullet, not a grenade. This zombie had to be especially ripe. The next one reacted more typically. The bullet made a normal hole and the creature fell to the floor, twitching. But I was already pounding around into the head of number 3, scuttling sideways, firing 2 or 3 shots at a time. I lost count of how many zombies went down. A few had weapons, but none had taken a shot at me yet. It was all too easy. Then something on the other side returned fire. Actual fire. The damned brown spinies were back, complete with their bizarre ability to toss flaming snot balls like warm-up pitchers for the devil. The easy zombie pickings had made me careless. The first fireball was too close, far too close, to my face and neck. The stuff stuck to my skin like napalm, burning like hell, and reminded me that I had no protection over any part of my skin or vulnerable parts. But I was pumped. With a roar to match the hell prints, I charged the nearest spiny and let my bayonet do the talking. The blade split thick neck like a cantaloupe, and the demon dropped, bleeding a deep, ruby red. But even with a bayonet stuck in its windpipe and blood pumping out in buckets, it stretched a clawed hand up toward me. With a thrust and a yank, I tore the neck so badly that the head was hanging lopsided. It would take a lot more work than that to actually decapitate the mother, but at least it wouldn't bother me anymore. I needed the bayonet back. I had other fields to plow.
Poor Doom guy. He's gonna end up getting his weenus burned off. Running around without protection. Before I blow my own eardrums out,
Round magazine. Thanks to him, I might still be a naked savage, but I was back in the game. I was a Marine once more. As I examined my surroundings, I had the feeling I'd been dropped into a giant warehouse. There were huge boxes, or crates, all over the place with UAC stenciled on them. I began to explore, and noticed a red, glowing
I do remember the end of this book. I'm pretty sure. It's possible I'm confusing it with another video game book, 'cause I did read a decent amount of them back in the day. There's some really good stories by Nintendo about regular NES games. Blaster Master actually has a book, and it has an incredibly touching story. Like, for a video game book, as a kid, I remember it being one of the first stories that actually moved me. Like, I was used to reading Goosebumps and stuff, probably in 3rd grade, 2nd grade, 4th grade, and it actually had emotion. Goosebumps really normally didn't. It was just to scare you and gross you out. Yeah, if I can find that Blaster Master book, Lethal, I'm gonna read it. The Metal Gear one is actually also really, really good. I'll have to see if I can find that one. I had other fields to plow. I feel like I'm slurring my words a lot today. I haven't had a cough drop all day, so it's throwing my game off significantly. A number of zombies had gathered around as I was busy taking care of the demon that I hoped had been the one who burned my face. More spinies loitered by the weirdest piece of wall I'd seen yet, with human skulls stuck all over it like raisins in a cake. A thin female zombie went first, a fat male second, an ex-PFC third. I used the bayonet on all of them because there wasn't room to shoot, pivoting, slashing, and stabbing, shouting gleeful curses. This was the way to kill. The feel, the smell, the blood pouring out of them beating through my veins, all linked. A world of blood. Some had to be mine, but this was no time to worry over details. Then there was one zombie left. I recognized its face. Recognition slowed me down. This was a good face, honest and stern, like the men who'd settled the frontier. Corporal Ryan. Dead eyes and a face I once respected were an invitation to do more than kill. I had to erase him from the universe. I pinned him with the bayonet, but he was made of stern stuff, even as a zombie. Squirming forward, he clawed my face with long, dirty nails. Damned rifle was stuck in him. He was far stronger than the others. Stronger than me. Thank God I knew Ryan better than his reanimated corpse did. The corporal always carried a 10mm pistol in a back draw holster. I reached behind him. The gun was there. I drew the piece, stuck the business end in Ryan's mouth, and squeezed the trigger. His death grip combined with the pool of blood underfoot pulled me to the floor. It was too slippery to get up easily. While I freed myself, I tried real hard to assimilate the latest data. If zombies were holding a weapon when they died, they still used it, but the intelligence required to remember a hidden weapon was beyond their reach. Slipping and sliding on the blood was distracting, and then I realized that I was sobbing. Having given myself strict orders to keep emotions under control, I felt betrayed. At least I held on to the pistol. Standing up, I realized with disgust that the real reason I was weeping was because I had temporarily run out of enemy. All the zombies were dead. Dead! And the monsters who had been watching over by the wall of skulls had run off. This was worse than being interrupted in the middle of making love. I really felt that. I had good reason to be crying like a baby. Pull yourself together. I ordered. It's good to know what his fetish is. It's bathing in blood of his of his former comrades. Oh, Doom Guy. That's why you're so relatable and so lovable. Plow. A number... I feel like now that might be too quiet, whatever. Plow. A number of zombies had gathered around as I was busy taking care of the demon that I hoped had been the one who burned my face. More
What the hell am I missing over in
weirdest
chat?
Piece of wall I'd seen yet, with human skulls.
Slacks,
stuck
where do you
all
even
over it
get
like raisins in a cake?
an image
A
like
thin
that?
female zombie went first, a fat male second, an ex-PFC third.
Okay. It doesn't sound too bad. I'm gonna have to probably splice the music here in a little bit. It's getting shorter and shorter and shorter, and I don't think the chapter is gonna end as quickly as the other one did. Yeah, that was a good chapter for establishing character. Hello, No Purpose Flower. That is, yes, that is the book. That is the exact book. Worlds of Power. They did a whole bunch of stories, I'm pretty sure, for the NES. I don't even have any more, Jeremy. I did have a bunch of goals that I was seriously considering, like reaching for, but I don't know. I'll just do them if I feel like doing them. I don't want to promise you guys something and then not be able to deliver on it. I can mail pictures out. I can keep doing what I'm doing now, but if I do anything extra, it'll just be something that I do. I'd feel bad if I couldn't deliver. You haven't even told me what you want, and it doesn't start until March 1st. Everything has to process, and then once it processes, hopefully it'll tell you guys to like email me, or it'll give you a way to get in contact with me. Because I'm curious how I'm going to be getting these people's addresses that I need to mail pictures to. Let's see. We need to copy the music. Like right about here. It'll be ending. I'm going to assume the chapter will end over here in 18 minutes or so. No, I haven't gotten it yet. What did you do? I haven't even looked yet. I don't think you should be doing that much. You're out of control.
Dead, and the monsters who had been watching over by the wall of skulls had run off. This was worse than being interrupted in the middle of making love. I really felt...
Okay. Going escrow. I don't know how any of that system works, so just bear with me for like the first month or so. This, I think the music's just now... The song is slowly dying as it goes on. It's a 14-minute long song by 9 Inch Nails, and it slowly breaks down and gets more sad and depressing. I'm pretty sure. So let's lock you. We're gonna fade this out. That's a long fade out. Okay. And then fade you in.
It was too slippery to get up easily. While
So do you want... I'll ask you here in a
I
little
tried
bit.
real hard to assimilate the latest data. If zombies were holding a weapon when they died, they still used it. But the intelligence required to remember a hidden weapon was beyond their reach. Slipping and sliding on the
I
blood
messed
was
up weapon
distracting.
right there.
And then I realized that I was sobbing. Having given myself strict orders to keep emotions under control,
Yeah, I
felt
read everything that
betrayed.
people send me. Either on YouTube or on Patreon or on Twitter or wherever. Where's Slax's picture about rip and tear from last night? I don't remember exactly what it said because I was about brain dead at that point from being so tired.
Dead, and the monsters who had been... together, I ordered.
That didn't sound right.
A baby.
A big old baby. Just a wee baby. Grip and stare, that's right. Big old titties or something.
Good reason to be crying like a baby.
I had good reason to be crying like a baby. I had good reason to be crying like a baby. Pull yourself together, I ordered yours truly. I mean it. Cut the crap right now. I wasn't going to put up with any insubordination. Damn you all! I screamed at the universe. How long am I supposed to take this, over and over? It was a good question, but nobody had any answers. I kicked a zombie's head, angry that he wasn't contributing his part to the conversation. Zombies weren't the only inanimate objects around. I found a metal cabinet that I tore off and flung at a console. Great sound effect. I would have moved on in search of glass to break, an even better sound, but I noticed my little tantrum had actually led to something useful. As the forest fire raging in my brain toned down to a mild fever delirium, I vowed never to say anything bad about dumb luck again. A hidden drawer in the console sprang open. I investigated, hoping to find a weapon. Instead, I found another one of those computer key cards, the very same cards I had sworn not to use again while I had my trusty rockets. The very same rockets I no longer had. Buck Rogers back to square one. I picked up the translucent, blue computer disk. Waste not, want not. A rifle in one hand, pistol in the other, and a key card clenched in my teeth. Not having pockets was becoming a major pain in the butt. Why didn't I simply field strip a corpse? I don't know. I guess my brain wasn't rolling on all tank treads. One direction seemed as good or bad as any other, so I went back the way I had come. As the frenzy of the battle wore off, I was starting to feel cold again. The red platform was appealing as the only source of heat I knew about around here. The next best thing to a roaring fireplace. It felt great as the heat warmed my cold, naked skin. Then, as idiots have asked themselves throughout history, I asked the magic words, "Why not?" and rubbed my hands over the thing. A million flashbulbs exploded in my face. By the time I finished blinking the world back into focus, nope. Just nope on that whole last part. Boobs are huge. You've got huge boobs. I'm not even sure I remember who that was made for. Which NPC or whatnot. I've got audio clipping too, it looks like, where I'm actually overpowering my mixer. I need to turn... I think after this, I will adjust my volume on my mixer. I don't really have a problem with that in anything else other than this book.
Like a baby. Pull yourself together, I ordered yours truly. I mean it. Cut the crap right now.
And I'm not sure how big of a problem that is, because when I listen to it, I don't even notice it. But I'm not an audio wizard.
Console.
Slacks, whatever happened to Square? Your Square guy.
I would have moved on and...
That Square thing.
I asked the magic words. Why not?
Hello,
And
Redsoft.
rubbed my hands over the thing. A million flashbulbs exploded in my face. By the time I finished...
A million flashbulbs exploded in front of my face. Stop that. So, a million flashbulbs exploded in my face. By the time I finished blinking the world back into focus, I realized I was not in the room I had just been. My mouth dropped open. Fly, you gorm, I thought. I think you've... Meh. By the time I finished blinking the world back into focus, I realized I was not in the room I just had been. My mouth dropped open. Fly, you gorm, I thought. I think you've just discovered your first teleporter. That square, red platform just had to be the teleport pads I had heard about when they posted Fox Company to Mars. They were just big enough for a man to stand on, assuming he felt adventurous. I was dubious about the whole thing from day one, and so was Gunny Goforth. If I were surrounded by trolls and out of ammo, I'd decided I might try one. Nothing short of that would tempt me. The teleport pads were already there when humans first arrived, presumably built the same time as the gates and gravity generators. Practical folk that we are, we incorporated them into the design of the base. UAC used them to transport heavy ingots and equipment. I don't think many people used them. Most of us worried about things like souls and continuity of consciousness and all that crap. Trust Corporal Fly Taggart to render the whole Philharmonic Orchestra. I can't remember if they ever have telefragging. I want to say yes, but it might not be till book 2. And there's 4 books or 5 books? By the time I finished, I honestly can't remember. I do know I read all of them, even though it took me quite a long time to find the last 2. By the time I finished blinking the world back into focus, I realized I was not in the room I just had been. Okay, what's this one start? Trust Corporal Fly Taggart to fuck everything up. And then salvage the day with a BFG 9000. Trust Corporal Fly Taggart to render the whole philosophical discussion moot by tripping over his own feet into it. As I stared stupidly at my new surroundings, a swarm of zombies poured around the corner. As the first one fired a round that took me in the shoulder, several thoughts whizzed through my mind. First, as I fell to the floor, I thought of riding up the careless dolt who'd triggered a teleporter by sticking his paws where they weren't supposed to be. The second thought, as I rolled onto my back, was more ironic. Moments before, I'd been unhappy over running out of zombies. My third shot. Start mingling words together when they sound too similar and are right next to each other. And all that crap. Once I get to Stardew Valley, I'll be able to pay more attention to chat. Consciousness and all that crap. Trust Corporal Fly Taggart. Vote him for president in 2016. My third thought. Let's see. My third thought, as I sat up, stunned, was, I'm shot! My sig cow was out of reach. I'd let it go along with the key card. I opened fire with the 10mm. A nearby stone platform provided me cover. The zombies were too stupid to do the same. They reminded me of army privates. Taking my time about it, I aimed and fired. The bullets went in. The blood came out. I took them one by one, killing the very last at point-blank range. This time I wasn't sorry I'd run out of zombies. The bullet in my shoulder made me groggy. There was nothing I'd rather do at that moment than lie down in a nice, warm pool of blood and sleep forever. Nothing suicidal. Sleep was good. Rest was a sacrament. Willing my reluctant body to move, I got up. Okay. That is actually the end of the chapter. End of chapter 15. So, let's finish this up. I'm probably going to do some audio balancing before I actually encode and edit the thing. Go back and correctly pronounce reconnoiter. Reconnoitering. Raccoon. Can I not cut that? There we go. Splice you, delete you, fades in, fades outs, and then we're on to Stardew Valley. And there's that. So I'm going to take like a 5-minute break, get myself some tea. We've finished chapter 15 in Doom, and now it's time for some Stardew Valley. In fact, let's... Or I could do more Dark Souls. That would always be fun. Dark Souls 1.